Welcome, personal fitness program participants. Good morning, afternoon, or evening, depending upon when you're watching this video series. We want to today get right into your baseline objective health assessment. We're going to go through some of the measures so you understand how to do them appropriately, and then get you moving right away into your program. Let's get you started first off with some of these objective health and metric standards. We're going to start with the cardiovascular measures. And so I'm going to assume that we don't have access to a gym or exercise equipment. And so we're going to use a lot of calisthenic exercises and different modalities that's available around the home or apartment. So for the cardiovascular standards, we're going to use your pulse. And again, that pulse is gathered either at the neck. If you were to run your hand at the base of your earlobe and run down right into your neck and use your two fingers, index fingers, pointer finger, to gather that pulse, you want to record it for 30 seconds and then write that number in the yellow boxes in the assessment document. And then you also want to perform a 5-minute staircase. And I'm calling it a shuffle. You can move as quickly as you want to in the 5-minute period, with these being some of the goals to achieve. But put your number in that yellow box category in the survey. Okay, that's the cardiovascular standard. We now want to move on into the muscular endurance standards. And with these, we want to do some calisthenic exercises. These are kind of common. How you perform these, again, you can Google planking. Planking is on your forearms and tiptoes. It will remind you of a push-up, but you're going to do it on your elbows and forearms and tiptoes. You want to maintain a nice parallel position to the floor, and so your hips and neck are even, and your chin is right over the thumb line. The wall sit is when you're up against a wall. You're about a foot off that wall, and you put your butt, shoulders, and head up against the wall, and you sit with a 90-degree angle, and you want to hold that posture for the designated seconds. And then the last one is a bridge, and it technically is going to be what's called a modified bridge, where if you lay on your back and you bend your knees, keep your feet together, and you push the hips up in the air and hold, and then you just balance on one leg. So you're going to be on your back, bend the knees, keep your feet flat, arch the hips up in the air, and then you want to balance on one leg, and you do both sides, and you see what your number, can you get to 40 seconds on a single leg. And those are the standards. So if you having difficulty, you can Google that, a bridge, modified bridge, wall sit, and plank exercise. Maybe I provide some links if there's a question with those, but these are pretty common exercises. We now want to move into the muscular strength. And so we've gotten past the cardiovascular and the muscular endurance. Now let's see some of these strength measures. All right, we're going to do a push-up. Now, from a female standard, we want to do it on your knees. Guys, you do it on the tiptoes, but females, you bend the knees and perform the push-up with that pattern. Then we're going to do a chair or table squat. And when I say table, I mean like a coffee table or like an ottoman. And so you're going to sit down and stand up, touching the butt to that chair or table for 60 seconds. Again, all these patterns are for 60 seconds. And then you have a sit-up where you tuck that foot underneath a chair, have a partner hold your feet or something like this. You can tuck your feet underneath the couch. And how many can you do in 60 seconds? Now again, class, understand that these measures are for health and wellness. there's two other additional measures called fitness and athletics, and those are more intense values. And so this course is designed really to improve your health and wellness metrics. But however, if you're already relatively fit and your assessment dictates that you move on to the next level, we can give you a program to help increase your fitness as well. Okay? So that's why the numbers are as such, and we'll get into those actual standards in the next lecture series in week 2. But for now, these are the goals that we want to try to achieve. I'm sorry, I did miss the bench dip. And the dip is when you are going to start out in a seated position, slide your butt off the chair or table, and you want to have your hands palm down, and you bend the elbows, letting the butt drop down back and forth. So you might want to Google the bench dips. Females, bend the knees. Males, straighten the legs. And maybe I provide some links to those exercises if there's a question about how to perform those. But again, these are all pretty standardized: a push-up, a squat, a sit-up, and a dip pattern. Okay? We now want to move on to some flexibility. Okay? And I made a little boo-boo here. Let me change that. So with the flexibility, it's a yes or no kind of pattern, because you guys may not have some of the equipment that we use to measure this precisely. And so we're just going to use yes or no. Can you, on your depth squat, imagine you're at the bottom of a staircase, can you sit down on that bottom step and then stand up without losing your balance? Okay, so can you touch that bottom step with your butt and stand up, yes or no? Toe touch, from a standing position without bending the knees, can you touch your toes, yes or no? The 6-point wall glide, this is a little different than you might be used to, but let me walk you through it. So you start out kind of like you're going to do a wall sit. Okay, so you're close to a wall, your back is facing the wall, and then you walk about a foot off that wall. So there's a little bit of gap between your heels and the wall. And you sit your butt down to the wall, you pull your shoulders back against the wall, and then you put your head against the wall. So those are 3 points right there. So your butt, shoulders, and head are now touching the wall, and you're facing away from the wall. Okay? So you dig your chin into the, like you want to pull your chin down a little bit, and so that back of your head is flush with the wall. All right? Now you raise your arms, and so your elbows are now up against the wall with a 90-degree angle. That's the 4th point. Your butt, shoulders, head, and now elbows are on the wall. 5th point is you rotate your hands, and so your hands are now, the back of your hands are on the wall. That's point 5. The 6th point is you maintain elbow and wrist contact as you slide the hands up and down the wall. So the back of your hand is sliding up and down the wall. Okay? That's the 6-point wall slide. You just indicate how many points that are now touching the wall. Can you get 3, 4, 5, or all 6? And just write that in the yellow indicated box on the assessment form, okay? Seated rotation, you want to have a seat, and you want to use like maybe a broom or some kind of pull stick or some kind of, usually a broom, something like that you may have around the house or apartment. And that you want to then rotate, and so your shoulders are now 90 degrees. And then you rotate the other direction, keeping the hips straight. You're sitting down in a chair. You're not moving the legs. You just want to twist your body, and can you get 90 degrees with each direction? Yes or no? So from a seated position, if you don't have anything, you also could, I guess, have your hands behind your head and rotate and see if you can't get your elbows to the 90-degree position, okay? So that's yes or no, yes or no, yes or no, and then indicate the 6 points. Of the 6 points, how many could you perform? And just write that in. We now want to move into some of your body measures. And anthropometric simply means your body measures in circumference ratios, okay? So we're going to measure different things. We like your height, your weight. BMI is automatically calculated, so don't worry about that. Your neck. Shoulders, you're going to have to get a partner to go around your shoulders. Waist to hip, hips, and then that ratio is automatically calculated. And so on your circumference measures on your neck, you simply you have to go out and purchase some type of measuring tape. And these are like $1, $2, right? This is not very expensive. I'm not asking you to buy a textbook during this class, and so you can spend the $2 and get some measuring tape. All right? And then so you go around the neck, and at the base of the neck, right above the collarbones, what's that number? Look in the mirror, make sure your tape is even, and then you measure it and record that number. Okay? For your shoulders, this is a little bit tricky, and so you need a partner to assist you on this one measure. If you don't have a partner, if you're a man, your jacket size, we could use, but try to get a partner to just measure on your shoulders, okay? You stand at attention. Imagine yourself like at some kind of like military type posture where you stand, feet together, chest up, chin up, shoulders back, and you want to measure your shoulder circumference. That tape should be just below the collar line, the collarbone, when you go around the chest. Okay? So you're not actually measuring the breasts. You're measuring right above that. You're measuring just right below the collarbone line. Okay? Next, you want to measure your actual waist. And so where it says waist to height ratio, you want to put your waist in there. And let me see what that waist number is. And then for the waist, you want to measure right around the navel. So you pull your shirt up, take the measuring tape, and you go right around your waist, crossing the navel, and then give me that number. Okay? And then the hips. The hips, a little bit tricky because different people have different kind of hip structures, but you want to measure the largest area of the hips. So you might have hips they might be a little bit lower, might be a little bit higher, but you want to measure the portion of the butt that's the largest component, okay? So those are the anthropometric tests. And then now we have some surveys that we need to fill out. And this is about your lifestyle. If you smoke, how much alcohol you drink, what kind of stress you may be under, what kind of sleep you're getting. So just indicate that, in the yellow box on the survey, what's going on with that. Sleep hours, meals per day, do you meditate? Do you pray at all? Tobacco use, alcohol intake. And with alcohol intake, we can't look at the aggregate weekly number. It's the daily number. So you can't say, well, I only drank, 12 beers a week, but it's 6 on Friday night, 6 on Saturday night, so it's only 12. Well, no, that's more. That's more than 2 drinks a day. So that's what your goal is for men, for women, under 1 drink a day. Okay, so that's the story as it relates to health and wellness information. Anything more than that creates a stress on the liver and your weight management ability. And then we have your daily activity. This includes exercise as well, but not just your exercise. So if you walk or bike ride, to your job or hike, whatever, garden, those minutes are included. It's not just the minutes you spend in a type of exercise class or working out on your own. It's your aggregate total daily activity in a week. We now want to click into your diet to kind of get some handle on your nutrition, if you have any glaring deficiencies potentially. And so we'll break this down in future lectures, but for now we want to see what your regular totals of these numbers are, okay? So leaves, and again, leaves are like dark leaves, not just iceberg lettuce, right? We can count romaine lettuce, but romaine lettuce, spinach, kale, Swiss chard, collard greens, turnip greens, these kinds of things, parsley, arugula, how much of that do you eat per day? Nuts and seeds, again, almonds, cashews, sunflower seeds, flax seeds, chia seeds, not the salted and roasted varieties, however, honey nut coated, right? We're not counting those. These are plain, unsalted, or unroasted raw nuts and seeds. And then we have protein. Protein, for this category, we're counting animal sources. So, and you can count protein powder as well. It's roughly, if you take protein powders in grams, an ounce is roughly 7.5 grams. That's 1 ounce, roughly, okay? So, how many ounces of animal tissue are we getting? Chicken, beef, lamb, seafood, fish. Chicken breast is about 3 ounces. A regular hamburger is about 3 ounces. Chicken leg is about 2 ounces. So just kind of indicate how many ounces of protein that you get per day. Again, if you're protein powder and you're in grams, 7.5 ounces is 1 gram. I'm sorry, 7.5 grams is 1 ounce, rather. Apologize. So now we have the whole eggs, again, the yolk and the whites, water, 8 ounces is 1 cup. So how many cups of water do you consume in a day? Cruciferous vegetables are from the broccoli family. So broccoli, cabbage, Brussels sprouts, bok choy, horseradish. These types of vegetables, how many of these do we consume in a day? Allicin is in the garlic and onion family. So it's onion, garlic, leeks, shallots, scallions, these kinds of vegetables. How many of these do we consume in a day? And then we have our fat sources. We have our grass-fed butter, not margarine, but organic grass-fed butter. We have olive oil, coconut oil, and then we have, avocado / guacamole. How many of these tablespoons do we eat per day, roughly, would you say? Then we have cooked beans, and then we have fruit. And again, fruit, we don't want to use canned fruit. Okay, so no canned fruit. Raw, fresh fruit. You can use frozen fruit, but not canned. Okay, so just indicate that, write those in. And then we finish the survey up with your health history question. We want to see if you have particular health risks that we have to build your program for. As relates to something in your family and your grandparents, parents, siblings. If you have diabetes, high blood pressure, types of cancer, these kinds of things. Indicate that in your survey, and so we can put together a plan for you that's most appropriate. All right. And so this concludes now lecture 2 with being able to put your data and get you started with the survey, and then we'll go through the results of your survey in lecture 3 as we get you into the plan and moving through now your health improvement routine. Thank you very much, and we look forward to week 2. In closing, however, be sure to look at some of those categories to get your writing assignments put together. Uh, Let me know what you're going to write on. Again, it's only an 8-week course, so the course goes fast. So every 2 weeks, roughly, there's a writing assignment due. And so get started right away on that writing assignment. Look at the syllabus, look at the types of topics. If you don't see a topic that you want to write on, email me, let me know your topic, and we can approve that and get you moving in the right direction on these writing assignments. Thank you very much. I will post some kind of assignment to get you a guideline on how they should look and the expectations of what I'm looking for. So thank you very much. On to week 2.